Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the back office teardown lab. So if you've got one of these Dyson Hoovers, I'm trying to think which one it is. Anyway, whatever this one is, it's a something V8, V10, V15, whatever. They come with these filters on the back, and when you run them without the filter, great. Pop the filter on. So if yours is doing that, that means this filter's blocked, and I have tried all sorts of tricks to get this to work. I've cleaned it out, banging it, washing it, soaking it in hot water, loads of different things, but it definitely seems that this has now perished. I don't know if that's by design. However, if you look at the construction of the Dyson, which is a kind of bit dodgy and it's tricky to show, I have to admit, without the light, but have a look in the end of yours, you'll actually see the printed circuit board in there. So you can imagine whatever is coming out this far and going through this filter, which is an exhaust filter, would be super fine particles, which maybe if you're allergic to stuff, that's important. But if you're like me, where you are a little bit allergic to pollen and things like that, but I'd rather a working Hoover right now, and I don't want to go to the Dyson shop and buy one of these because I suspect they're quite expensive for what they are. I just want to get it going again. So I thought we'll just have a little tear down of this part here and see if there's anything we can do. I mean, we can definitely just leave it off, but with the exposed PCB in the back, I don't want to really dick around with that because, little fingers, stuff can get in there. And also, you've always got the option of removing this filter material in here. You can see that's just a folded paper filter. It's like you have on a car or something. And replace it with just a bit of foam or some sort of HEPA stuff. You'll find something. So the two options you have are either to try to break the seal here, and I'll show you the seal. So it's two halves and they've been glued together. You can see there's an adhesive between the two layers right here, and I suspect with enough work you might well be able to get in there, but you're just going to damage this. It's going to really mess it up big time. So it's probably easier to try to just extract the paper filter in here. So you can see I'm already digging in with my finger. I've got no love for this. I'm not that bothered. So it does seem to have a fibre in it to stop you ripping it too easily, which makes sense really, because you wouldn't want it. Oh, hang on. Trying to get a grip in there. Yeah, it's definitely it's got some sort of fibre mixed in with it, so it's oh look, can you see that the bottom is actually part of that construction, that filter. Here we go. Once we get an end, it looks very much like nappy material really. So we'll take out a chunk of it. Yeah, and you can see it's just become fully saturated with, I'm guessing dust. Whatever fine dust has got that far and really blocked it up. And I think the problem is, I can't remember if this part is washable. A lot of the filters are washable, but if you don't clean them properly, like if you don't remove all the dust before you wash something like this, the problem is that dust will can kind of turn into a mud. Let's say a fine mud, then that really gets in there and blocks all of those fine pores. So that's terribly annoying. Just still working my way around. It's pretty heavy duty made actually, to be honest. You can see it's got a top seal and a bottom seal on that, and it's wrapped around the inner edge. Now, if I really want to be brutal, I could just run a screwdriver in. Yeah, let's do that. Save a bit of time. And you can see this is wet because this is one of my other attempts to wash it out, rinse it out, but it wasn't working before that, and it wasn't certainly not working after. What I tried to do, it's really funny, I filled this with water because there's quite a lot of pressure at the back of the vacuum, and held it on its end so I could put, so no water to go in the PCB. So this was sitting on the deck, and trying to use the force of the vacuum pushing down to blow out the sides. Didn't work, of course. Right, and this is going to let us learn a little bit more about the construction of this filter, because I can see there's actually some additional clips. So I said there's glue, but I can see in there's actually a clip, and there's the same clip mirrored on the other side. So we're going to need some additional tools. So we've got a Duratool pliers here. Let's get this last bit of filter material out. Got it. Bang. So just before we do that, let's have a quick look at this. Look, we've got quite a lot. You can imagine when you unroll a filter, if you took all this glue off, which is almost probably the equivalent of hot melt or silicone, it must be meters and meters and meters long. Well, at least a couple of meters of think of that surface area. Right, I can see the clips in here. So there's no way really you could get this apart than taking that out. That's my first observation. I did say maybe you could, but actually you couldn't. Secondly, it's made in two parts. This inner clip face is actually like a self-contained filter, and then this outer bit just goes on the outside like a mushroom over the end. So the outer bit is merely just to protect the filter element. And we're going to need some very specialist screwdrivers to get any further. Specialist being something quite long and pointy. Because this clip looks like it's going to be quite tenacious. Now, I have been waiting, of course. iFixit are sending me one of their toolkits, which would have probably been quite useful right now. So we'll have to see in the future if that is the case. But in lieu of one of their toolkits, we're just going to have to poke in with a screwdriver. I don't really want to break it. Yep, the clips though aren't glued. That's good. You might just be able to see that spring clip right in there. I know you can just about see it. And my idea, you see, is basically putting that in there and just levering it. It's a bit tricky at this angle for me, but it was doing it. The only tricky part is once you've levered it, you got to wedge something in there to stop it sort of catching back in there. Right, I'll probably work on that for a moment. But before I do, let's just show you though, if you wanted to now, you could pop that back on the end. So that's the vacuum, pop that on. It's offering no resistance at all. In fact, you know, your suction is probably going to be mega now. It might increase your battery life. If you want to, just even at this point, and I'd be very, I'm going to say cautious at what you use as a material. So I'm just going to give you an example. If you had a bit of filter foam, the type that you can get for your car air filters, if you buy a K&N filter or something like that, sometimes they have a bit of foam you can use, or go to a model shop where they've got like a nitro racer. I'm going to do a demo with a bit of tissue. Technically, you could just push some filter material in there, and the density is going to be something you're going to have to check. You don't want to work your hoover too hard. So there you go. So effectively, I have now got a filter of sorts in there to kind of push some dust through that. So if you don't want to run it totally filterless, you can find something. Just listen when you put it on though that the vacuum doesn't sound like it's labouring too much, because if it doesn't over labour, because if you block it automatically shuts down, but that's going to eat your battery the more you block that off. So let's do a little jump cut and I'll have a go at digging into this. I've been digging around my screwdriver in here. Yes, you can lever those tabs so they can bend inwards right there. You can bend them both inwards, get something wedged behind, but then when you try to pull on it again, you've got this seal to contend with. So I think there's no real point taking it any further apart really, apart from maybe you could install a slightly better filter material or something. I kind of think there's scope here though for an aftermarket cartridge that could go in here, an aftermarket cartridge filter. You could remove those tabs, break this seal, yeah, and then devise, because of the way it's constructed with the tabs, if you don't break them too much, you could actually put a small screw each end to keep the two halves together and put a small paper cartridge filter in there. But at this point you have to ask yourself, why bother? You might as well just shove a bit of foam in there. So there, I hope that's of some use to you, and you're going to sort of have happy times Dysoning and keeping your lounge clean. As ever, thank you for watching.